So my fiancée, GF, age 32 doesn't want me, age 28 to talk to her best friends at all before marriage. We have been dating since the last 2.5 years, and those 2.5 years has been mostly public. Public in the sense that both me and her like to post pictures or reels of ourselves from vacations or times together, and we were very clear that we were in a relationship on Instagram. However, she doesn't have many real life followers from office or personal life on her Instagram. She has around 7 or 8 really good friends who she meets on a regular basis and one cousin. We are both matured adults and decided to get married in the coming year in 2024 November or December since we started dating. So I thought it would be better if I introduced her to my family too last month, so I took her consent and decided to meet with my family at a good restaurant in the city. My family got to know her and they liked her and decided to fix the date for our wedding. But my GF said it would be too early for her to get married this year, so we eventually decided to fix the marriage date for February 2025, 6 months from now. Usually in my city, it's a requirement to book the marriage halls early enough so that you get a proper hall. So I took her consent and discussed with my family and booked a hall for marriage. Few days later she also went and booked a hall for her side of the party. It is normal to have parties from both bride and groom's side in our culture. Basically, so far I have made her meet my family and one female friend of mine who lives in a different town with her BF, and both of the meetings were proper well-planned meetings. She also met maybe another friend of mine accidentally in the mall. I however have never met her friends in that manner. Only once or twice I met some friends by accident as I was driving my GF somewhere, and 2-3 of her friends also hopped in and we just spoke a few words as we traveled in the car. But her friends were aware that we were dating, of course. Now a strange incident happened last week which left me really confused. It was a text from a friend of hers on Instagram. Before this I had never spoken to this friend of hers except for only once, a year back, when my GF wasn't talking to me as we had a fight, and so I texted this friend of hers and asked her politely to talk to my GF once as she is a good friend. She said okay, I will surely talk. And also I texted her friend only because I felt my GF back then was going through a lot of things and probably she would need a friend to discuss properly as she had a huge financial loan etc., and even had a fight with me and her family for some reasons. Shortly afterwards I got a call from my GF regarding me DMing her friend on Instagram, and she asked me very angrily to never talk to her again. To which I was surprised, but I complied as our relationship wasn't so stable back then and I gave her space to settle. And after a while that day, I got a message from her friend saying hey, sorry I can't help you in this, and she blocked me on Instagram. I was okay and didn't react back etc., so this was last year's incident. Now this same friend texted me suddenly last week as she was not able to reach my GF over call and she was tensed as what was going on. I politely replied back saying hey, she's alright, probably busy with office work, I will inform my GF that you are trying to reach her. I called my GF and said her friend called, to which she was like, oh lord, what? Why does she have to text you? Please block her on Instagram. I found it very weird to block that friend and immature at the same time. So I told her I won't, so my GF told me that if I want then her friend will. Few moments later I saw I was again blocked on Insta by her friend. Actually this time around it made me a little angry and I ended up texting her on her other Insta handle and told her, hey, how are you doing? I didn't like what you just did and this is not a very respectable way to talk to someone. I also wrote if your husband has some self-respect he should also not text my girlfriend when you guys are having issues. Then she replied saying hey, my husband, me and her were in her life much before you came to her life. After which I politely explained that I didn't mean to break their friendship and only wanted to make their bond better and just felt disrespected for being blocked twice when I wanted to just talk to them once or get to know/meet them. So she didn't reply to this and informed my GF, and my girlfriend again came out angrily and was very angry with me as I referred her friend's husband. I felt that was the only logical way to express myself. I was serious about her and made her meet my family and friends. She had no family members, her parents also passed away and cousins live in other countries or far away now, but her friends would be the ones who would be present at our wedding from her side. So I expected her to take me a little more seriously and maybe not ask her friends to block me, at least on Instagram. She often visits this female friend's house and sometimes they have sleepovers and sometimes even parties with this friend and her husband in their house, birthday parties or some other reason. I never got to properly go out or meet any of her friends in an official go out/meet kind of sense. I expressed her a couple of times that your friend brings her husband and baby along in group meetings sometimes, so maybe I can also go along and meet them once. But she is strictly against this, and this blocking incident recently is seriously bothering me. My GF says my ex-boyfriends had bothered my friends earlier as well, and I don't want these things to happen again. But this probably would have made sense to till maybe like a year back, but now we are gonna get married in 6 months. Even now she's hesitant and says she will introduce me to them only after marriage. And also when she gets married these friends will probably have to help her make her side of the arrangement/duties as she has no one else. So I needed to talk to them as well for our upcoming wedding preparations. I haven't spoken to my GF since last 2 days because of this, and she also is saying she is unsure of the marriage now after I expressed this desire to meet her friends, and she says that I will be controlling in nature in the future. I feel she will text me or call me back soon. Am I asking for the right thing by asking her to introduce me to her friends? What should I do? Update 1. So few days back I 28M posted about how my girlfriend 32F asked one of her best friends to block me on Instagram. It's not been long since the blocking incident, but today I just got surprised to learn that my GF's mother, who she always has been referring as dead, is not really dead. So few weeks back the girl, her best friend, who is already married with 1 kid, just texted me to know the whereabouts of my GF as she was not able to reach her. My GF, on knowing that, instantly asked me to block her and I refused, but she then made that best friend block me, and the rest of the story is already there in the previous post. Since then I was not able to trust her. My GF has always been telling me that there is no one in her family. She said she was a single child and both her parents have passed away. She used to go to her countryside home every 3 to 4 months to visit her aunt, who she said was the only person living there, but it always seemed a little off. And every time she used to go there she used to stay for at least 2 to 3 days. There were other things which seemed off too, like whenever she used to get a phone call, her contact name used to show as Dad Home, and a lady used to speak from the other end who she always used to refer as her aunt. My GF has already met my parents and we were supposed to get married in the coming February. My parents were hesitant about our marriage because they also didn't like this secrecy and the fact that my GF asked her best friend to block me. I just thought it to be generational differences and was trying to make my parents understand that maybe it's not that big a thing. But still my parents didn't like this relationship, and one day last week, they just went near my GF's office and asked a colleague of hers if she knew about her parents. But that colleague didn't know a lot about her family. I know this was not a right thing to do by my parents, but probably they could look at the suspicious things from an outsider's perspective and they just wanted to keep me safe. I tried to make them understand later that it's wrong to take these things in the professional space. They agreed not to ask there again, but also urged me to do proper research before taking a step towards marriage. So, I also tried to ponder upon my parents' POV and the whole situation from an outsider's perspective, and it was all making me grow impatient. My GF just wouldn't let me talk to any of her friends or relatives or follow them on social media. And the reason she used to give for not introducing to her family was that her family would never approve of her marriage, as inter-caste/inter-community marriages are still not quite accepted in some parts of India. But she always used to say how open-minded her parents were and that her whole upbringing was very modern, etc., and used to cuss my family for being suspicious and backward, etc. And she also used to say if her parents were alive today, they would have definitely come for the marriage. My parents liked my GF initially when they met her first time and were very happy about the marriage. My father even offered to sponsor the marriage expenses for her side as she wasn't doing great financially. But they got suspicious when she even made her best friend block me. So all these combined made me very suspicious, and I decided to visit her countryside village house today just to check. I went there acting I was looking for someone else, and when I knocked the door, her mother came out. I know it was her mother because my GF showed photos of her mother to me earlier. It was truly like encountering a ghost. She looked like a fit and fine woman with a smile on her face and just looking like my GF. My GF and I are not talking properly since the day my parents went to her office. She called my parents crazy and whatnot for doing such a thing, and was angry and said people of my community are clever/cunning and crazy and do suspicious spying on people, but never accepted that she said such a big lie to our family. And while I admitted to her that it was wrong to ask at her office, but it's not right for her as well to talk like that about my family when she was acting all suspicious, asking friends and family to block me and faking her mother's death. I haven't spoken to my GF about this, and what should I make out of this really? This was a very huge lie, and I don't see a valid reason for this either. Her father, as I confirmed from locals nearby, had actually passed away, and her mother was living there with her aunt, who was living in a different house just on the adjacent block. I just want to know if there could be any valid reason or judgment that can be applied to this scenario, because I can't think of any. Her mother looked fit and fine to me. Roughly around 50 to 60 years of age. Update 2. So it's been a month roughly. I posted my question about the weird behavior of my fiancée and her lying about her mother being dead. Today I thought of posting a small update regarding the entire situation because a lot of you have been asking me for this. After discovering that her mother was still alive, I was shocked for a few days. But gradually, I started to feel better, although I was still eager to understand if I had done anything wrong, especially because I had seen both the good and bad sides of her. Now that some time has passed and I can think more clearly, though I do miss her at times, I reflect on what I know about her. She is someone who is naturally very compassionate and has shown great kindness towards animals, adopting or helping several street animals during the 3 years we were together. I've seen her experience happiness, sadness, and vulnerability. I've seen her good sides, but she has also been very harsh in her feelings towards my community, language, my parents, and even me. She clearly did things that were wrong, like discouraging interaction with her friends and lying about her mother being dead, among other things. Also, she lied to me another time in the past, which I consider the second biggest lie after the story about her mother's death. This happened one night when she arrived in my city a day earlier than planned from her village home. I found out because I had been calling her repeatedly. She said she wanted to surprise me, but we didn't end up meeting that day because she asked me not to come over, claiming she was tired and feeling unwell. Later that night, I called her multiple times, but she didn't pick up. The next morning, I went to her flat and discovered she wasn't there. A few hours later, she called me from a friend's phone and explained that she had gone to her friend's house because her friend's boyfriend had come to stay, and the watchman wouldn't allow another guy in the flat. So, they pretended to be family relatives to cover it up. I forgave her for lying that time and chose to trust her again. In hindsight, it was another significant lie, the second biggest lie during our entire relationship, the fake mother's death still being the first. About 7 or 8 days ago, I noticed her repeatedly posting WhatsApp updates about how she was treated badly by me, how she was subjected to loneliness, and how I broke up with her. During that time, I attended a party with some guys and girls, and I saw her posting stories that directly defamed me, even though we had already broken up and I had every right to socialize with whomever I wanted. That day, I messaged her after seeing her status updates, partly because I was angry about what she had posted and partly because I wanted to know the real reason behind her lie about her mother's death. She responded with a lengthy message, but to summarize, she listed the following reasons. 1. She said she lied about her mother being dead because her mother never got her due respect in the past relationship. Her ex probably never let her stay at her mother's village house for more than 2 days. 2. Her ex-BF was roaming around in the city with other girls and probably even cheated on her while her mother was in the hospital. 3. She thought her mother would get proper respect if she lied about her mother being dead like her expired father, who was treated respectfully after his death according to her. None of the reasons she gave seemed serious enough for me to believe. I pointed out that about 90% of her reasons were related to her ex-boyfriend and asked her why she had to lie about her mother, especially since I had always been supportive regarding her family issues. I told her that her explanations didn't make any sense to me at all. She later told me I was wrong to say she has narcissistic personality disorder. I told that to her once earlier because she never feels sorry and does gaslighting to hide her own errors, etc. And I read online that this could be symptoms of NPD and asked her to get expert help on this. She said she had consulted a psychologist who diagnosed her with CPTSD, which can cause narcissistic traits at times. Even so, I don't see how that justifies creating such a complex story about her mother to deceive both me and my parents, even going as far as to give a specific date for her mother's death anniversary. She was also upset with my parents because they found the whole situation suspicious and started asking questions. Although I feel bad and believe she may be dealing with some behavioral disorders, I also suspect there is a deeper, more complex secret, whether it's hers or her family's, that has led to all these stories. In my last conversation with her, I made it clear that, regardless of what she says, we are not in a position to restore the marriage. I don't want to hurt her by doubting her, nor do I want to hurt myself. Trust is something that cannot be rebuilt after everything that's happened, so I asked her to just tell me the truth. However, nothing substantial came from her that I could consider. Next story, spent everything I had on her engagement ring, but she said it was too small and not special enough. Months later I found out she was having an affair with her coworker. Before I, 28M, proposed, I spent lots of time looking online and in stores for the nicest ring I could afford, and I ended up with a 1-carat Osher solitaire. My girlfriend, 29F, doesn't like the ring and wants a different one. All of the ones she has shown me are bigger and more expensive than I can afford. She said she'll accept my proposal if I give her a different ring, and it can be a do-over because she said she was also a little disappointed I proposed at home and didn't do anything special. Truthfully, I'm kind of hurt she cares so much about having a bigger and expensive ring. I want her to be happy and have a ring she likes, but she is so fixated on how small my original one was, and I really don't feel great about it. Honestly, my heart broke when she said no. Edit, as I said in my post, her complaint about the ring is that the diamond is too small. For the proposal, I recreated the exact meal she cooked for me on our second date and proposed on our balcony with candles around us in her favorite scent. I hope this answers the questions. Update 1. I told my girlfriend if she prefers a different style of ring than the one I got her, I could get her a different ring because I obviously want her to love a ring she would wear every day. I would either keep the original ring as my engagement ring because she made it clear she isn't getting me one herself, or I could return it and put the money towards her new ring. The ring I had bought, a 1-carat Usher solitaire, was the biggest one I could afford. Her complaint was that it was so small and the other rings she showed me as examples of what she wanted were more expensive than I can afford. I admit it led to a few arguments because everything was above the amount I told her I can afford. She suggested I get a temporary side job to save more money. I've said it would take me a couple of years to save for what she wants, but she says if I love her I'll find a way. I'm not opposed to another ring, but we are on opposite sides regarding the budget. The proposal, me recreating the meal she cooked for me not long after we started dating and having candles she likes on the balcony, was also not what she wanted. She wants a public proposal and I misunderstood when she said she wanted something special. She didn't say public and I didn't infer it. Now we are both aware of what she wants at least. I just want to thank everybody for the support and nice thoughts. I haven't decided if I'm going to keep the original ring and wear it as my engagement ring yet, or return it because it will barely make a dent in the amount my girlfriend wants for her ring. I don't even know how, or if, I'm going to save for another ring. Truthfully, this whole thing has put a damper on the idea of being engaged for the time being. Thanks again everyone. Update 2, August 21, 2024. Backstory is that when I, 30F, decided to propose to my girlfriend, I bought her the nicest ring I could afford. It was a 1-carat Usher cut solitaire. When I proposed, I recreated the meal we had on our second date, and proposed on our balcony with some candles around us. My girlfriend responded by saying she would only marry me if bought her a different ring. All the examples she showed me were much bigger and more expensive than I could afford. She had told me she'd accept my proposal if I give her a different ring, and my proposal would be a do-over because she said she was also disappointed I proposed at home. She didn't like the proposal or the ring. The update is that I was trying to communicate with her and find a solution because of how much I love her. She was the one I wanted to spend my life with. We did have some arguments and she suggested to get a second job to afford a better ring. She said I misunderstood when she said I wanted a special proposal because what I did wasn't special. I had decided to keep the ring to be my ring because I was unable to return it and would have lost money if I sold it. I was trying to find a solution and my girlfriend was making suggestions. I thought we would work it out, but about 6 months after my last post my girlfriend left me for a colleague. She said the affair started after I proposed. Last I heard they were still together and either were traveling over in the United States. When my girlfriend left me she took most of our things. I had to start my life over pretty much. It was difficult. My family stopped talking to me when I started dating women. They don't support same-sex relationships. I did receive a lot of support in both of my posts, but there was lots of negativity as well. The majority of the messages I got were negative too. Many people missed that I am a woman even though I said it in my posts. I received many comments and messages about how men don't understand how important the ring and the proposal are to women. Even those who did not mistake me for a man said that my proposal was low effort and the ring was terrible. My proposal was called out for being terrible and most of the messages I got mirrored the comments I got about putting in more effort or being a better partner. There were some insults too and a lot of them said they felt sorry for my girlfriend. I learned from this experience. I'm not in a relationship now, but if I ever do find someone I'll make an effort to be a better partner. I did want to post one more update to thank the people who posted nice things, and to say I learned from this experience and have taken to heart all the comments and messages about being a better partner.